Hi guys, this is Kathy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have my sister with me and we will be making kimchi. Say hi! So, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's shy right now. She's not usually shy, so I don't know. So we have here all our ingredients for our kimchi. This is how we usually make our kimchi. This is very easy, and these are the usual ingredients that we use in making our kimchi. So we have here pechay or napa cabbage, but here in Cebu, I don't know if this is how you call it also wherever you are. We call this pechay. And then we have radish, and then carrots. We have onions, spring onions, ginger, and we have garlic. So I think we will need a little bit more of garlic and a little bit more of onions, and then we will be showing you what we will be doing with this to make it into kimchi. So join us today and please keep on watching. So to start off, we will start with our cabbage. You can actually make your kimchi with like whole pechay or whole napa cabbage. But for us, since we want bite sizes already for kimchi, we will just cut this into like 5 portions for the whole kimchi. And we'll be doing that for all 3. So we'll just cut our kimchi first. So just about this big for the sizes of our kimchi. I know there are like a lot of different ways to make your kimchi, but this is how we do it for us. So there. We love kimchi so much, and we find it too expensive to be buying all the time. So we learned how to make our own kimchi, and we've been making our own kimchi since. So there. Except though when we run out of kimchi and we want to eat kimchi right then and there, then we'll be forced to like order or buy some outside. But most of the time, we make our own kimchi. So once we have this sliced, we will be covering or sprinkling salt into our kimchi. We won't be brining it. We won't be putting water with the salt. It's just salt and the pechay or the napa cabbage. And then it will be soggy and soft. It will soften it later. So that's just what we will do. So I have here another bowl, and we will be putting salt into our cabbage slices. No lang ga.
The internet for me is slow.
You should read a book. So we make sure we put salt into our cabbage. Cover everything with salt. So we'll just leave this as is and set this aside for about 30 minutes, and then we'll flip it, and we'll be doing that for 2 hours. So every 30 minutes for 2 hours, we will be flipping and tossing this. And then after 2 hours, then we will be washing and then draining our pechay or our cabbage. So we're doing this to make our pechay or our napa cabbage salty as well. So we want the saltiness to be absorbed into our vegetable. There. So we'll see you later. So while we are setting aside our napa cabbage or the pechay, we are now going to start slicing our vegetables. So we're going to do that for the carrots, radish, and the rest of the other ingredients that we'll be putting in our kimchi. So we'll just show you how we're going to do that. So we have here our spring onions, our radish, and also carrots. Now we're just going to sprinkle salt and toss them around and make sure that we cover everything with salt. So it's been 30 minutes. So we'll just toss it around and make sure everything's covered in salt. And if you notice, our veggies or our pechay has now wilted already. And that's what we wanted to happen with our vegetables. So there. Let's set this aside again and we'll do this in another 30 minutes. So now guys, it's time for us to work on our spices. So we'll be using ginger, onions, and garlic. Well, you can actually, so we have two options for this. You can actually mince everything and then put it in our kimchi. But if you have like food processor, then you can also just use it instead of mincing them. So right now, that's what we're going to do. And we have here this attachment for the blender. And this will just process everything for us. So it will be a lot easier. It's way easier than having to mince everything. So we're going to start off with our onions. I have 2 bulbs of onions and we just cut this into big pieces, but we will be processing that, so it's okay. I'm not even cutting the onions, but I can already feel my eyes tearing up. There. I think that's it. There. And then we'll be doing that for our garlic and ginger as well. So we're doing that for our garlic as well. So we're using about 12. So we're using about 12 cloves of garlic. And then lastly, we will be doing our ginger. So there's our ginger. So we have ginger, garlic, and onions. Now, when you make kimchi, you're supposed to use rice flour to make paste. But we don't have rice flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to grind rice again. So we're going to process rice, grind it, and that's what we will be using to make our rice flour. So we'll be using the same processor or grinder. Don't know how you call it, but yeah, we'll be using the same thing to grind our rice to make the rice paste later. And because we forgot to do this first, so we just wiped it off. So we just wiped it dry, and we'll be putting about 1/3 cup of rice. So if you're going to do this and if you're going to use a grinder or a processor, it's best if you start with the dry ingredients first before you do your spices. So, and there. So it's now fine, and we will just be cooking this. We'll be putting water and then cooking this in a pot, and we'll be making paste out of this. So that's 1/3 cup of rice, and then we'll add 1 1/2 cup of water. Now we'll just boil our rice and make sure it's really soft. Let's put this in medium-high heat and then wait for it to boil. Make sure we remove the salt from our veggies. So this is now our paste. This is the consistency that we want. So we'll just have to turn the heat off, and then we'll have to cool this down a bit. So now I'm going to make our kimchi paste, and the amount of paste that you would want to make should be like enough for the kimchi that you'll be making. So this is my vegetables. You can see there's not really a lot. So I'll be using about a half of the paste that I'll be making, or 2/3 maybe. I'll show you. about that much. And into my paste, I will be adding, this is patis. So about a tablespoon of patis. Should add flavor and scent to our kimchi. And then I'll be putting about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And then all of the spices that we processed earlier. So we'll just mix everything into our paste. So of course, to make our kimchi, we have to put our chili powder. So this is what we will be using. Chili powder. We actually bought this in Asimart, or you can find this in any Korean grocery. And also, this is sold online, so you can check Shopee. They're also selling this Korean chili powder. So put as much as you want. We actually want it very red, and it's not very spicy. Well, for us, it's not really very spicy even when we put a lot. So we usually put a lot of it because we want our kimchi to look really bright red. Just make sure that we mix everything together. All the flavors incorporated and thoroughly mixed. There. So you can smell the patis, and this is going to be sweet because of the brown sugar, and that's how we want our kimchi. So I think our paste is ready. Now it's time for us to mix everything, our veggies and our paste. Of course, we will be needing plastic to cover our hand because we don't want to be touching the kimchi or the paste with our bare hand because it has chili powder. And in another bowl, in another clean bowl, we'll just have to mix our kimchi. So that's kimchi, and then I'll put a little bit of paste, and then mix my kimchi and my vegetables.
Look at that.
There! So here's our kimchi, guys. You look, it's so red. But we'll have to ferment this first, of course. We'll be putting this in a container with a cover or with a lid, and we will have to ferment this. So we will not be putting this in the ref or in the fridge yet. So we'll have to put it in a cool, dry place. We'll be putting this above the ref. That's where we usually put it. So give it time to ferment. In 2 to 3 days, this should be perfect. Once it has fermented, once it's sour already, that's when we can put this in the ref.